Welcome to the Real Deals Real Estate Podcast, where you'll learn about buying and selling homes and how to invest in real estate. Now, here's your host, Donald Torrance of JAVE Real Estate.
Hi, my name is Donald Torrance. I am really excited about doing this video today. This video will be for those who are looking to actually start investing or maybe looking to add another form of strategy to your current investing market that you're doing today. A little bit about me. I've been investing since 1995. I done everything from single families to multi-families. I've done wholesale, lease options, owner finance, subject tos, short sales, foreclosures, rehabs, just about anything you can actually think about in the real estate arena. I want you to know that what you do in the single family arena, you can actually do in the apartment building arena, multi-family apartment buildings, any kind of real estate transaction there is. So let me dive right into this and give you guys a little bit of information on what I have for you all. The picture of the property that I have, of this house that I have up here, is a picture of a house from an owner calling me in regards to some of the marketing that I've done. This property is a 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath house built in 1994. It's in a great school district, great location. It has beautiful finishings as far as flooring, kitchen, bath, because they just took out a loan in 2010 and redid all of this because they didn't have no intention on selling. Had the basement refinished. It was really nicely done. They wound up relocating to another state. So they bought a house in another state, and they thought this house would actually sell pretty fast because it's in a decent area. Well, it did not sell like they intended to, so they tried selling it with realtors. Now they're trying to sell it themselves. So they've done some work as far as trying to get it sold. So they wound up contacting me, and I'm getting ready to dive right into that if you guys don't mind. So, like I said, this is a 4-bedroom, 3.5-bath house built in 1994, 2,000 square feet. It has a little. I know I said no equity, but this house has a little equity, not enough for them to actually sell a property. The first realtor they had listed the property for $285,900. The strategy of the realtor, from what I gathered from the owner, was to list it for $285,900, and they was hoping that a buyer would come along and actually offer them $280,000 or $279,900. That was a really bad strategy that the realtor told them. Uh, I don't know how much experience this realtor had, or what they was, if this was something that the actual owner offered to the realtor and the realtor just said yes because they wanted the listing. I really don't know because I wasn't there. And the reason I said this was a really bad strategy because the houses in this area sells from 260 to 280. 280, if you get a house sold for 280, they was really redone with granite, all the updates, all the bells and whistles, stainless steel, everything. So they did have showings on the property, but they didn't, for 4 months they didn't receive an offer on this property. So they thought it was the realtors that they was working with that was causing them not to be able to sell the property. So they wound up letting the realtor go. The realtor that they wound up letting go, it wasn't so much his fault as opposed to um, him not explaining that their listing is a little high, and that's not a good offer for them to actually price for them to go on the market with. So they wound up letting the realtor go. Wound up picking up another realtor. The next realtor, which did okay, actually was I thought was did them some justice. Listed the house for 279,900. They received an offer of 275. Uh, After they received the offer of 275, which was a really good offer. The buyer wanted the sellers to pay a concession with a 30-day close. So it means they have already been approved. They was ready to go. They just wanted the actual sellers to pay something towards their closing costs. So that's a pretty good offer to get a property listed for 79.9 and then to receive an offer for 275, and they want a 30-day close, and then they want the sellers to actually pay something towards closing costs. They could have rejected the seller concession if they wanted to, which was 3% of the actual sales price. But sometimes that scare off your buyers because they feel that, that instead of me giving you the a low ball offer, I'm just asking you to pay something towards my closing costs. In some cases, it's not bad. But here's the breakdown of why they did not sell the property and take the offer that they had. They had a realtor that listed the property, so this realtor is working for them. They owed 266 on 266,000 on the property. The realtor's fees was 6%, which was $16,500. This is the 6% is of this $275,000 sale price. They also had their closing cost fees, which was also in there, and they had the seller's concession, which was another 3% on the seller's concession, 3% on their closing costs. I like to use 3% on closing costs because you want to make sure you have enough money to actually close the deal, being the seller. They had additional holding cost fees because they still, even though they got an offer on the property, they still had the electric bill, they still had a water bill, they still had the tax bill, they still had expenses that would go along with that property. So I like to use 2%. Some people use 2.5%. I found 2% to be comfortable for me and not going over that. I hadn't went over it much, but 2% is the norm. Like I said, some people say 2.5. The the total cost for them to sell that was 14% of the actual $275,000. So that means they needed $38,500 to actually close. Now, with them receiving a $275,000 offer, they still had to pay off a mortgage of $266,000. That left them a balance of $9,000. So they can apply that $9,000 towards the sale of the property, but they still had to come up with $29,500 to actually make this transaction go through. They didn't have that money. They had no way of coming up with it. They were already financially strapped. They was at the brink of going into foreclosure because didn't know how many more months they can actually afford to make that payment on that property. Well, the actual realtor, was trying to work it out with them, but they just couldn't make it work. The realtor was offered to lower their fees, but it just wouldn't work out for them to actually sell this property. So now just look at, they had a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage uh, that they took out in 2010. They had 24 years left on that mortgage. Their monthly payment was 18.23 and 2 cents. So that was their monthly mortgage payments. That's the taxes, insurance, interest, everything. All in, this is what they were paying per month. They had a really good interest rate at 3.675. That's a really good rate for 2010 for them to get a 3% below a 4% rate. So I offered to buy the property, and I offered to buy it subject to the existing mortgage. Uh, the subject to the existing mortgage meaning that I will actually take over the mortgage that they have for the $266,000. I will be making all of their payments for the $1,823.02. Uh, they wouldn't have to fix anything in a property. I would take it just the way it is. If we found out that the furnace was getting ready to go out or something like that, I would take care of it. The mortgage will stay in their name until it's paid off. They understood that. They was fine with the mortgage staying in their name, but they knew that they could not continue to pay this 1823. They knew they could not uh, continue to live in another state and have to worry about this property. They were losing sleep at night, up worrying about this property, and it was just a strain on their whole life with this property that was in another state. So I offered them to take it over, and here's one of some of the reasons why they were willing to actually go ahead and do this. Uh, there were several reasons that made them actually want to actually go ahead and move forward with this property, with the offer that I made to them. Um, they didn't have to make any more of the payments. They avoided the fact that them not making the payments of them falling in foreclosure and destroying their credit. They didn't have to worry about this property no more, nobody breaking into it getting vandalized, any of that. They didn't have to worry about it because I was taking that headache away from them. This was a big relief when I offered them this. Uh, some people say I wouldn't have did it, but you never know what your situation may come to. So this was a great way for them to get out from under the property and not have to worry about the property. So now I have the control of the property. I have the ability to sell the property, rent the property, or whatever I decide to do with the property. What I decided to do was sell the property. Now, the property was bought at a time when the market was good. The 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 property values were still dropping in 2010s because the more foreclosures came on the market, the more the property values dropped. So I like I tell people, time heals everything. You might have been in a relationship, the relationship fell apart, your heart was broken. I've experienced it too, so I know how it feels. So, but time healed your heart. It's just like it's just like if you go out and you have a credit meltdown, and you go out and you try to fix your credit. Over time, your credit will rebuild itself, and you will rebuild your credit history back. So it's the same deal with real estate. Real estate over time, it will rebound and the house will reheal itself. The value of the house will reheal itself. So what I'm selling the property on is what's called a lease option. You might heard of Rent a Center or places like that that rent furniture with the option to buy it. That's the exact same thing what I'm doing with this property. So I'm gonna sell the property a little bit more than what's owed on it. I'm gonna sell it for $290,000. The down payment is $10,000. So that tenant buyer is a tenant buyer lease option buyer. It's all the same thing. That tenant buyer is going to put down a $10,000 deposit. Their monthly payment is going to be $2,300 a month. They still got a balance to pay off of $280,000. So this is going to be a 10-year term. Uh, Not that I'm going to write the lease agreement for 10 years, but I will renew it every year that they need for up to 10 years. So it will be renewable up to 10 years, giving them 10 years to actually purchase the property, refinance it, whatever they need to do to get financed for this property to get it into their name. With me doing a deal like this, with me taking over the owner's mortgage information and doing what needs to be done with the property, I helped them out of a situation, and I helped the homeowner who couldn't actually buy a property. I helped them to actually get into a property. So that's two family lives that I've touched in a positive way, uh, where they wouldn't have normally been able to get out of the situation that they were in. So I love this strategy because it helps so many people. with this strategy. Now, you asking yourself, why would I come to you and buy a property from you? Let's just think about this. FHA changed their guidelines since the financial meltdown. If your credit score is not a certain, if you don't have a certain credit score, you cannot put the 3.5% down for FHA anymore. They're asking for you to do 10% down, which is 10% of the sales price. So that sales price, let's say if I would have sold them a property for the 275, that meant they would have had to come up with $27,000. They still need their closing cost fees, which is another 3%. Well, let's just say FHA asks for 3.5% down. I'm sorry. Let's say FHA asks for the 10% down. They still want to see 3.5% in your bank account that you have for closing cost fees. So even if I'm going to help the actual buyer with their closing cost fees, FHA still said that they want to see that closing cost fees in their account. So let's just call it the 3%, which is $8,250. They still have the $27,000 that they have to put down as a down payment to purchase this property. So that's almost $40,000 that they will have to actually pay to actually buy this property. So with me doing what I'm doing, it makes them have to come up with less money. They could have had a bankruptcy or just filed foreclosure. They could have had a foreclosure and just filed bankruptcy. Uh, and it still allows them to actually get into a property. This gives them a chance to fix their credit, to get their life together, build up some more money in case they need more money. This gives them an opportunity to do all the things that normally wouldn't have been able to do for them to actually get into a house of this size in a decent neighborhood. So it's actually a good, it works out good for them to actually be able to get into this property. Now let's talk about why I'm doing it. Of course, I'm doing it to make a profit. Uh, so I'm gonna tell you the profit centers that's involved in this deal with me doing this deal, because it can be very profitable for an investor. I get the 10% down, the $10,000 down, which is a non-refundable deposit. So that makes me know that you're a serious buyer, that you actually want the property, and you're going to actually do what's required for you to actually get the property. That means you're going to go into a credit repair program. You're going to be working with a lender that we know that's going to actually, even if it's a lender you know, as a buyer, we want to make sure that you are in touch with a lender and they are working closely with your credit and the credit repair program to actually get your credit together for you to get financed for this property. There's a difference of the $2,300 a month and the $1,823 a month payment of $475 and some change. So let's just call it $475 just to keep things simple. If they wind up getting financed for this property in the 12 months that the first lease agreement is wrote for, they're paying me an additional $14,000. Not not to mention that there's 12 months of payments of $475. That's $5,700 a year. So if in year one, if they decide that they can actually buy the property, they would have paid $10,000 when they first moved in. So I got a payment up front when they moved in. I had received a payment for 12 months for $475. That is equivalent to $5,700. They're also paying me off at the back end when they get financed for the property to be in their name for another $14,000. So the first year I made $29,700 in the first year of me having control over this property. Keep in mind the mortgage is not in my name. The owners didn't ask for any money up front, and the property is just deeded in my name. So there's really I have no risk in this property at all. but I'm getting to help two families out in the whole transaction of this deal. Now, let's just say that they take 5 years to actually get financed. And at 5 years, the mortgage payments are getting paid down. The mortgage is getting paid down. So if the original loan amount was $266,000, now it might be $260,000. So that's another $6,000 that just got increased. So this $14,000 turns into $20,000. So and then it take them 5 years to pay it off, then it's $5,700 is times 5. So this number increased. My bottom line profit margin has increased. So lease options, owner finance, and taking property subject to most of the time does not require money out of your pocket. Let's just say that I had to put $5,000 down. I would have gave them the $5,000 once I found the tenant buyer or the lease option buyer. I would have took the $5,000, so my upfront money I would have had a profit of $5,000, not the $10,000. If you can add 10 of these properties a year, and you gather $5,000 for all of each one of these properties, that's $50,000 a year. Let's just say on average you're making $300 a year, $300 per property. That's $3,000 a month times 12. So that's more than what some people make in a month, $3,000. So you can actually get out of your job by doing subject tos, lease options, and owner finance deals. I love them because I keep going back to, you get to help two families off one property. So I'm going to keep doing these. Hopefully this information was helpful to someone, and hopefully you guys gathered why I love doing these transactions. If you found this information good to you, or if you like the content that was in this video, please comment in the comment sections, and I look forward to putting more videos out.
This has been the Real Deals Real Estate Podcast, hosted by Donald Torrance of JAVE Real Estate. Tune in next time for more expert real estate advice. Follow Donald Torrance on YouTube. Visit JAVEINC on Facebook, or visit JAVEINC.com.